afternoon. Welcome once again to the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast. I am your host, Mina. Welcome back again. If you are a new subscriber, thank you for joining us. Please welcome to the family. Like, hit that subscribe button and the notification. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for joining us again on this podcast. It's another beautiful day in Providence, Rhode Island. We're going to be having a very interesting topic on this episode. We have the guy who is behind the scenes, who is the recorder of these podcasts, the editor, producer. I have today joining me on this topic is Timmy.
Hello, everybody. Sabaidi.
Yeah, I know, Sabaidi. Welcome. So good to have you here today. It's a pleasure to have you. Now everybody can see the person behind the camera. They know who is the one editing these videos and everything. So
They saw me in one of the episodes before. I was kind of quiet though, but you know.
Today he's going to talk a little bit more because it's all about Timmy today.
It's a lot.
I'm putting him on the spot, but it's going to be good because it's a beautiful day. We're here, beautiful background, right?
Yes.
Nice atmosphere, something uplifting for the viewers. Today, well, before we start our topic on personal growth, I want to talk about how was your week? How did everything go? What's been new in your world?
This week has been actually pretty nice. I just got back from Tennessee. I visited one of my good friend Gary. Shout out to him. He's pretty much my doppelganger. It's kind of freaky weird because he's living like my life, parallel universe, in a different state. He's just 3 years ahead of me, which is kind of weird situation-wise too. Everything kind of lined up. It's kind of weird, but shout out to Gary.
Gary, how you doing? Shout out to the people of Tennessee. How was Tennessee?
Tennessee was amazing. I feel like it's an underrated state. You know, I like Nashville and everything, but you know, it's not my scene. It's cool. I love the live music and everything. It's a special place. But out of Nashville, people don't realize Tennessee is the largest like forest area of United States. So there's a lot of nature wonders out there. I got to see French Fall. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it was fun. Kayaking, hiking. Don't tell my doctors because I'm not supposed to do that, but it was amazing.
He's gonna explain as we move on in this podcast why you can't tell his doctor that, his cardiologist.
Yeah.
So you said Tennessee's underrated, kind of like how Rhode Island is underrated because it's the smallest state in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm sure Tennessee. I know it's a big country scene there, but that was nice. I'm happy you have fun and you went kayaking.
I did. I did. It was like a 2-person kayak because my buddy didn't, he was nervous that I was going. So he thought he was going to, do the most effort, but I think I did the most effort.
Okay, well, that is good.
But you know what? It was good PT.
Yes, that's really good. Like we always had, and Timmy, you know this, this podcast that we have is always about encouraging and uplifting people and talking about different topics. And this season we've talked about so many things. We've talked about, letting go. We've talked about life experiences. We've talked about love, what it means from a female perspective to a male perspective. And it's good to have you on this season finale episode of the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast.
I am honored. Thank you.
And I'm so appreciative of you for everything that you do, everything you've done for this podcast. A lot of times people don't see the people behind the scenes who are doing everything, but you have been a great asset to this podcast.
See, the whole point of me doing the podcast, so it's like a way of documenting everything, people's stories, people's life. So like, I feel that this podcast is very special to you because now your kids can look back at it when
they're older.
When they're older, or their grandchildren, or next generation, and seeing what you've done to uplift people.
Yes. And I always say that it's like leaving a mark. You know, we started it. It's not over. It's like you're leaving that mark for the generation after, because someone's gonna look at these episodes one day and be like, "Oh, I gained something from that." And today, our episode, we're gonna talk about personal growth and personal growth, and that's why I have you on here today, because you have been through a lot. You have been through. It's like a roller coaster, some ups and downs. But I want you to, just to give the viewers a little background of you, what you've been through, your challenges, and what you've overcome and what you've learned.
Oh, it's a lot of baggage. Let me tell you that. But all right, where should we start?
Let's talk more about your diagnosis, your cardiac diagnosis as a child,
All right,
how it
so
all started.
they call me the miracle child. They didn't know if I was going to survive. So I was born with a cardiovascular disease called tetralogy of Fallot, meaning forward malfunction within my heart. So they had to fix a lot of, how would I say it? I had to fix a valve in my heart so the blood won't leak back into another ventricle. There's like a hole that they had to patch up as well. So what this disease, as a simpler term to or explain it, not enough oxygen is produced throughout my body. So I was born like a blue baby, and yeah, so throughout my whole life, I would be followed by a cardiologist, making sure my health is, on peak, and I try not to let that bother me. And there's been challenges, of course, but I have overcome a lot of it.
And that's great. And I think the challenges started when even before you were born, and then after. So when you were born, when was your first surgery? At what age?
I was 9 months old. And again, thank you for Boston Children's Hospital. They're the one who did a lot of research on me. And I'm so thankful for all the health care providers, nurses, doctors, cardiologists that, let me live a fulfilling quality life today.
That's great. So surgery at 9 months old, and through your stages, from starting with after 9 months, you had to be follow up regularly. Were you doing every 6 months visit? How was that going?
So I don't really remember during my younger days, but when I was, around like age 5, 6, 7, I would go to my cardiologist once a year for like a year checkup. And that right there kind of made me think, how come I have to go to the hospital and not anyone else has to go to? Why do I have a big scar down my chest and no one else has a scar down their chest? So it made me think, physically, as I knew I was different than most people that's in my peer group.
Yeah. And you mentioned physically, mentally, what did that do for you, especially being
It
so
definitely
young?
made me feel insecure,
Yeah.
of course. I was shy taking my shirt off and showing my scar. Every time I take my shirt off, people ask questions. And to be honest, I wasn't really educated knowing what happened to me.
Yeah. And how was it, like, activity-wise? Were were there limitations and things you could do? Playing outside, riding a bicycle. Like, how was your average day-to-day life as a child growing up?
I was definitely, my mom very cared for me, so she worried so much about what I would do, it took a lot of convincing to play even soccer. And I was pretty good. Soccer is one of my favorite sports, and I was really good at it. And then towards middle school to high school, that's when I started wrestling.
Okay.
A very intense sport. By means, I don't take any medication during that time. No heart medication. I was, the only thing I had to take was antibiotics to go to the dentist.
Okay. That just shows the perseverance of everything because you challenged yourself. You didn't let, your diagnosis and having this heart issue stop you from wanting to play sports. Like, what was one of your motivators? Like, what really motivated you to say, you know what? I'm not going to be down. I can do this.
Well, having a cardiac issue and my mom saying no, that motivated me.
That would.
I don't like no as the answer. So if I want to do something, I will do it.
Oh, yes. And your friends, like, how was the social life growing up?
Social life. Social life was actually, looking back, I had a fulfilling neighborhood with kids. We always play like football, like manhunt, and it was a really cool community. So my social life was pretty good growing up. I had a very good support system. Shout out to the Leafs. The Leafs have been through my whole life. I've known them 20 plus years, and they support me throughout everything. And also, they helped me convince my mom to play tackle football.
Oh, see?
Yeah, so they were there for me.
That is so good because someone who's going to be watching this probably has your same story. He's probably going through something else. What would you tell that younger person who, or their parent who may be watching this and seem a little bit overprotective because they don't want anything to happen to their child? They don't want them to get into any kind of contact sports because what would happen if they're on the field and their heart stop? Like, what would you encourage that person?
I live day by day, honestly. Time is very short. How I look at time is very different than other people. And I also want to tell the parents out there who are worried that if they're going through the same thing as my parents went through, it's just trust medicine. The medicine has been advancing so much lately. It's just so crazy. So the surgery I recently had was on July 12th, and they did an invasive surgery through my groin in the cath lab. So they feed a wire from my femur all the way up to my heart, and they implanted a cow material valve, which only took a week's worth of recovery, and I'm still able to do a lot of the stuff. I walked out of the hospital the next day. So I feel like you should trust medicine. Coming from a patient themselves, I'm feeling so good, and it's been 2 weeks.
And he traveled to Tennessee. That's what he said. Don't tell his doctor.
Yeah,
and he went kayaking. So that's why he mentioned that earlier. And that is so great because as we're taping this, right, it's so funny the way how life is. Like we were just saying, we started off, it was sunny. Now it's getting cloudy. It just shows that life, even though things may seem cloudy or dreary one day, the sun will shine the next day. You always have to remain positive. I want to touch upon, you have mentioned like life is short and you just have to keep moving. Like who were your inspiration doing all of this? Because it's not something easy when you're growing up as a child and saying to yourself, how come I'm not like the other kids? How come this one's normal and I'm going through this challenge? Like, who were your inspiration?
That's a tough one. I have a lot of inspiration, but it actually comes to you because not many people will experience what you go through. So I don't really have much friends that had cardiac issues. So how can I, how can I connect with somebody like that? So a lot of it is self-talk and fixing your mentality to overcome things, and also listening to your peers and their affirmation about it's I have to be straight. Your peers, you need to create a great support system. more great support system you have, the more you can handle a lot of challenges. And I had them throughout. Like, for example, the beefs. I have my family, my close friends that pushed me, and a lot of these people are great athletes. So it kind of motivate myself to to either be on the level or better.
And I think that's what, in life, we all need each other. Like, nobody, I always say nobody is an island, and it's like we're a tribe, we're all a community. And when one person's going through something, we come together and unify. And that is an inspiration in itself. And you've been around with all the episodes we've done on this podcast and all the guests we've had, is each and every one of us go through challenges in life.
Yeah.
And when we're doing these podcasts, we're also, yes, we're uplifting the viewers, but also we're encouraging each other. And what would you say to a viewer right now, watching this? Like, what would be like something uplifting and encouraging you would say to a viewer right now?
I say, if you want to do something, do it. It might be not the right path that you want to take, but there will be paths. If you really want to do it, you'll find a way. Let me tell you a personal story. So, originally, I went to school for biology and I minored in chemistry at Brown College. And my goals was to become a physician assistant. And the application process was very difficult. I got denied about 20 schools, back-to-back years. But I met one person who didn't give up on me and saw my potential, and he said, "Hey, why don't you check out this program at UMass Medical as a doctor of nurse practice, and I feel like you'd be a good fit." So there I was intrigued, and the guy invests a lot into me, so I said, you know what, let's try it. And I looked at the requirements, and I need to take 2 more classes. So I said, all right, well, I gotta do this. And I did it in the summer while working full time, and it was very difficult. I did have a lot of help too, so I didn't do it myself. I just want to voice that out too. And I applied to that school, and I got in my first time. And although I won't be a PA, I will still help people as a nurse practitioner, and I'm proud of that. I don't care what field I'm in the medical field. All I want to do is help people and patients like me, and also helping parents understand medicine and how it works, because I'm the living example of it.
That's just a great example. A lot of times when you get a denial, like you said, you apply to over 20 schools and you got like no. Like, someone would be like, you know what, I'm done, I'm quitting, I'm moving on. But just because you got those denials, that wasn't it. Like, just because you had the delay, it wasn't that you couldn't fulfill your passion of helping people. It came through another avenue by going for being a DNP.
Yes.
So you're going to be starting school in next Monday.
Yeah, August 1st.
His life is going to be completely in the books for the next how many years now?
4 years. 1 year is crazy busy, and then 3 years, that's when I work in my doctor of nurse practice. And then if I go for a fellowship for cardiology to specialize in that, so that'd be 5 years total.
Yep. So
Yeah.
he's going to be a busy person, but he never give up. It just tells you, don't ever give up. Even when things doesn't go the time you want it to go or the way you want it to go, there is another plan. Never give up on your passion. Never give up on your passion, especially when it comes to helping people. and changing lives and making a difference for the positive, never give up on that passion. Um, with,
I
with
do want a voice. It doesn't matter how old you are.
yes,
It does not matter. Like, I'm 29 years old. I know by the time I'm 35, that's when my life will be situated, and you know, that's what I feel. I have a friend who I work with, Haiti Child Organization, and I met him through on the ambulance, and he recently just finished PA school. He's 60 years old. Age don't matter.
age does not matter.
No.
It does not. I remember I saw something a couple of years ago. A lady, she was in her 80s, who went back and got her bachelor's degree. So age doesn't matter. When you have that passion, you have that dream, just do it. You'll hear the negative stuff. People are like, oh, why do you want to do this? Why don't you do that? Just do what your heart tells you to do. If that's your passion, do it. Don't give up.
There was a lot of mistakes and failures. I'm not gonna hide it. There's a lot of failures. I failed many times, and you just need to learn how to get back up and keep pushing. It's all merit. Don't be afraid to fail. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't be afraid to fail. Fail as much as you can, because that's how you be successful.
And you learn. Failure teaches you. You learn from your failures. You know, it's like when you ride a bicycle. You don't just get on that bicycle at the first time and you start riding. You're gonna fall so many times, but you get back on and you keep moving. You may fall again, you get back on, you keep moving. And when it comes to personal growth, what we've been talking about, it's like you've grown over the years. And I appreciate how you say, you know, don't be afraid to fail, because I fail a lot of times, but I kept going. I have fears, but I kept going. I made mistakes, but I kept going. You know, and that's what it is. That's what makes us humans. That we do fail, we make mistakes, but get back up and keep going. You're gonna have this nice, bright future ahead of you. It's gonna be busy.
And I'm sure I'm sure there's gonna be obstacles that I have to, jump through too. So I'm aware of that. But it's just how your mindset you have to put yourself in order to go at it face first, and you just can't be scared. I am scared, but you have to pretend to not be scared.
He makes it look easy, right?
It's not easy. I tell you, like, I'm good at keeping composure, but inside I'm just a little 3-year-old screaming around in circles, like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
And soon it'll be over, and he'll be like, "Well, I did it." So hard work pays off, they say.
Yeah.
Hard work pays off. Do you want any last thing you want to put out there to the viewers?
Well, let's see. I do. So this podcast is very special to me because this documents me and Mina, together. This project has been going on for almost how long?
Since the beginning of the year.
Been a year. So this is a year project, and I'm just happy that she came to me about an idea, a podcast, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, I have experience in videography. I've been doing this for so long, and the mic and audio is completely different. So I'm learning that as we go. But yeah, so this just documents, like, I hope my kids and my grandkids and my child's child sees this and see the opportunity that I'm going to give them in the future. We have to be aware of our roots, our background, because I'm pretty sure my parents and my generation before me went through more suffering than I have, and I realize that. And it's important to, I value family a lot, and sometimes it's tough to deal with family. where you might need to separate yourself a little bit, but as what I feel is that in order to support your family, you have to do you first. The more you do yourself and put yourself first to succeed, the more you can give back.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. And that's it all, and that's why it's all about personal growth. And we've all learned and we've grown, and it's so true what you say is that you have to look at you first before you can look at anybody else. And sometimes the most difficult people to deal with or challenging is the ones who are closest to us. So, but what we do is we have to put our best foot forward and do what's best for us. Because, like you said, the generation before, they went through challenges. We have our own challenges because at the end of the day, we're leaving a legacy. And that legacy, our kids will pick up and do something even greater. And that's what growth is about. We all have to grow. Personal growth is about growing and not about staying and doing the same thing that the generation before did. Wherever they stop, we want to grow to make it better, and that's what we're doing. And our kids, we want to leave that stamp where they're gonna grow too and make a legacy, and that's what personal growth is all about.
There's another thing too. Healing.
Healing is very, very important.
Healing is very important.
Because in order to grow, you have to identify what your weaknesses are. You have to identify your vulnerabilities. And you have to be honest with yourself in order to heal.
Yes.
And a lot of time addressing and looking at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I have this problem. How do I change this? Or how do I heal from it? Healing is very important. So that's you brought that up. When it comes to healing, personally, how would you say when you go through struggles, how you heal?
You have to be very vulnerable, and you have to express all the feelings out. You don't hold it in. It's scary, of course, but everyone has different backgrounds and they go through problems. It's just healing the right way. So let's say if you're struggling and something hurt you really bad, you protect yourself with a shield, but that could also be a double-edged sword where you shield from those problems but also shield from blessings. And that's why vulnerability is good. You can't be scared of it. Yeah.
And I think you have to. I think with vulnerability, honesty.
Honesty.
So, like being honest with yourself.
Yes, you have to be honest with yourself.
Because you're the only one that knows you. We are our own. Not sometimes. We are our own worst enemies at times. Because if we can't be honest to ourselves, who are we going to be honest to?
Yeah.
And if we can't be vulnerable and willing to say, okay, I have to change this, how are we going to heal?
So let me give you some advice of what I've done to heal. I'm a big meditator. I would outdoors. This is Prospect Park, Providence, Rhode Island. This is actually a place that I come to in a very stressful time. I would sit on the bench, listen to some lo-fi music, and just listen, think, and meditate. And it calms me down. Meditation lowers your heart rate. It makes you think clearly, and you just think, and then you stop thinking, and then now you just focus on breathing. Once you control your breathing, you get into a great mindset. That's one way I've done. Videography is also another way how I express myself. I've done a lot of stories, voiceovers, and videography is a storytelling, and I'm a patho writer, meaning I like to write a story that influence emotions, make you feel things that you don't feel on an average day, and it should be uplifting or expose you to things that you feel comfortable feeling.
I think that's also good because if we go back to previous podcasts, we've always filmed in a room, right?
Yeah.
In this, it's like we're in this confined space. And for this podcast, I'm like, we should do something different. Let's do it outside. And the reason why is just nature, having that breath of fresh air. It just brings a calmness.
Yes.
Would you say it brings a calmness? And on top of that, this is your favorite place to
Yeah.
come.
Favorite place. Has a lot of meaning for me coming here. Throughout my undergrad years, going through, everyone has relationship issues in the past. So this is the best place to make me feel calm and safe. Outdoors is my safe area.
Yeah, and this is great. Um, any last minute thoughts
Thoughts.
before we conclude for today? Any last minute?
Yeah, I want to thank. I've been going through a lot this month, and I want to thank everybody that's been there for me. The whole Brown University Health Services, they've been there for me. Mina, my family back home. You know, um, Johnny G, shout out to him. He's one of my close friends. Aman, I just want to have lists of names that I feel really appreciate who they're in my life, and without if I miss anyone, don't take it to your heart because I'm thinking of you. Of course, I'm always thinking about everybody who crossed my path, who made an impact in my life, and without you, I wouldn't be able to be here right now and overcome a lot of challenges.
That's great. We appreciate you too. And Timmy, I appreciate you doing this episode. Um, the viewers get to see for the second time the guy behind the camera and behind everything. And just want to thank you and just wish you all the best. Like I said, we're not done working together.
Nope.
This is something that's just continuous, but I think this was a great time to bring you forefront from behind the camera and behind the editing and producing, because you've been a big part of this podcast, and just to tell your story. And before we conclude, for anybody who's watching, personal growth, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Give yourself time. Take it one day at a time. It's not a race. Others may be going ahead of you, but your time will come. I believe, personally, everybody has a season and their time. And you cannot evaluate yourself with the next person. That person have their time, you have yours. And you were put here for a reason. Just always remember, you are a gift. You are a gift to someone, and you will inspire somebody. It may be the smallest thing, but you were put here as a gift. So don't get discouraged. Timmy's story is so inspirational. From birth, going through the heart issue, going through all that he went through, the challenges, the obstacles, the roadblocks, but he still stood up. He still stood tall, and he continued his race, and he's continuing his race. So
You're gonna make me tear up.
all right. I'm trying not to, but you still continue your race, and you're gonna see this face. You are gonna see his face, and like I said, thank you again for sharing your story and inspiring somebody out there. If it's one person, you've made an impact. You've made a difference, and I know for those who will be watching this, you're gonna make an impact. And we thank you again for joining us on this season finale of the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast. At the end of this video, there will be a little clip of Timmy, a little video. Did you want to tell the viewers what is a
Yeah.
little snap, like tell them what it's going to be about?
So this is a video that I've made summer 2019. It's a very special video that I've made to remind myself to live in the present and my values, and it's still the same values. And every single person in that video means so much to me. There's people that are missing in that video because I didn't see them in the summer 2019, but I still think of you.
So once again, thanks again. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a family of the Uplifting Waiting Room podcast. Thank you for all your support. And remember, it's not a race. Keep going. You have something in your heart and your passion. Don't give up on it. Just keep shooting for the stars. Thanks for joining us again. We will see you next time. Have a blessed day and have a good night. Bye.
Yo, it's Timmy. It's currently summer of 2019. This is a message to my future self, a reminder in how important family and friends are. Appreciate the time you have with them, because tomorrow we don't know what will bring. Take a moment to breathe, to feel, to be in the present. Always smile.